disciples united to fight. Shows the ass, we're addressing truth in the light. Shots of friend, everybody's alive. Breaks the freedom fire, watch your amplified. Stack your air truth, you're all terrorism. Williams to effort, ruling this system. Recently to charge, fear is not existent. Blockchain power, our mission is persistent. Round table warriors, breaking chains. For freedom and justice, rising up, we rise! See disciples united to fight. Shows the ass, we're addressing truth in the light.
But why, some say, the moon?
Everybody's alive.
Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon. But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may...
Sorry, guys. It was on loop.
It's all right.
Man.
Plug in
All
the
right,
code.
welcome to the 208th episode of the World Blockchain Roundtable. Today, our hosts are I Am, the emperor of Din.social and all social media, I do believe. I think that you might consider them as provinces, right?
Yeah.
I'm Joe, founder and architect of Dragon Chain. We've got Sean, who's been with us for how long? How long have we been doing stuff, Sean? It's been freaking ever, right?
Yeah, well, probably 3 years, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So
More. It does seem like more.
I'm sure it's longer than that.
Yeah, but the show's only been on for 4 years now. So
Yeah. And then we have Zach and Andrew from the Legacy Right podcast.
Nice.
Beautiful stuff.
I'm mining in the background.
Right on.
Don't mind me.
Lisa's out. She's not feeling well, so she won't be here. But I think it is broadcasting on. Broadcasting on her channel too. Hopefully that worked. I don't know.
Nice.
And then I'm sure Greg will show up. I'm sure Greg will show up as soon as his laptop reboots. Right. So this week, let's see here. I guess what we have a couple of things to get through real quick. Last week's episode was current news topic with Blockchain Solution. Every host will get 133 lot. Every topic contributor 55 lot. And the theme was nominated by I Am, who will receive 55 lot. Oh, I heard a beep. There he is. See, I told you, Greg.
No sound.
I knew he would show. Right?
what's up?
Welcome, Greg. And
Howdy.
hopefully we can hear you.
Greg, mic check.
Hang on.
Oh,
We can hear you. It's good.
hang on.
It's good.
We heard you.
So Greg from Rivet also. And let's see
Okay,
here.
can you guys hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Gotcha.
Good.
All good. And we have, let's see here. I have it over here. A topic that we need to. So for June, the theme suggestions post is up. Please reply. See, I added one this morning. You should vote on it. Current event plus blockchain solution.
All right.
I missed the last one.
Ooh, I got a
And
great
we-
one I'm gonna put in, guys. Actually,
Curses, Joe. Curses. You're robbing me of my lot coins.
Yes. Yes.
what if
And someone wants
GPT
to notice
4.0 had its own Web3 wallet that it could control without any human intervention?
Oh, that'd be a great one. Yeah, that'd be a great one.
Because the project
I'm with
already
Aerox.
built it and is already scaled.
Yeah.
I just found out about it
Great.
yesterday.
Theme.
I'm with
Roberto.
Darax on that one. It's
The great
conspiracy
reset.
time.
Right on. I love it.
No.
All right, so I will vote.
Magic.
Somebody vote mine up because I'm going to vote this one up, and also I'm going to vote up the noticing. That should be talked about. And the rest are just kudos. So anyway, good stuff there. Let's see here, and I guess that's all of the updates. We have theme of the week, which is stable coin surge. So I guess before we get into any of that, before we go to the questions, we should talk about the what is this an anniversary or a birthday?
Yeah. Well, that's a question.
Same
It
thing,
should
right?
be. It should be a Dow proposal, right?
Yeah.
I got the cheesecake right here with the 4-year candle.
One, and some places in the world do actually use the word anniversary for birthday, right?
I understand on
That
camera,
is true.
a live show, you probably should be using candles.
Hmm.
From bad things are
Yeah, I used to really like the metaphor of it as a trip around the
There
sun,
we go.
but then I discovered
we
the
go.
fact that the sun does not stay stationary, and we actually kind of wobble a bit. So it'll be many, many, many years before Earth ever lands back in the same rough position, and relative to the center of the galaxy, we'll never see it again. So
Yeah.
we're never going back to the same spot.
never
Fun
going
when,
back.
even the galaxy moves,
Are you-
right? So,
That kind of
Are you
ruined
saying
that
the Earth-
metaphor for me for birthdays.
Are you saying the Earth is a space station? I know.
I, in fact, am saying that all space stations are planets.
that's even-
That's
Oh,
true.
so
Nice.
Pluto.
It's
So Pluto then is a planet. Is this correct?
Pluto is a planet.
Well, if it's a space station, then yes.
I think we fit that. It's good. All right.
Anyway, amazing.
Make
4
Pluto
years.
a planet
We have
again.
lots of
4
space
years.
stations on this lots of docks on this
Yes.
space
Four
station.
years of this. No, it's good. It's actually when we, and I'll tell you, I'll give you the history real quick because it's really funny. When we were about to release Dragon Chain from Disney, and we weren't even sure if it was going to happen yet or not because we had to go through all the process, and at the end of the process, they had to vote, right? So, and I couldn't vote, but it was basically the Disney's open source committee had to vote on whether to release it or not. And in preparation for that release, we weren't sure whether or not we'd be able to do a press release. And in the end, they didn't. They didn't allow us to even do a press release, which caused a lot of confusion. But I decided, hey, we need a place that we can go and announce it and have a meetup, at least in Seattle, at least locally. And so I created the Blockchain Seattle meetup group on meetup.com. And it ended up being huge. We had like 3,500 members really fast. I mean, it was, during the bull run and everything like that. But during COVID, and by the way, we met once a week. Every week we met in Bellevue one week, and then we meet in Seattle, and then we meet in Bellevue and then Seattle. And so, we would also alternate between daytime and evening. So, we'd go to a brewery and have, something to eat and talk about blockchain stuff. And it got to be huge, and it was really useful to meet people. But then during COVID, of course, especially in Seattle, where if you didn't wear a mask, they all point at you and scream for the authorities and stuff. So we couldn't, we weren't meeting up anymore. So we decided, hey, let's do something with that. And we created the World Blockchain Roundtable. We decided, let's just bring it online and then do the same type of thing online, because the speakers weren't as popular as just people coming and asking questions. So like, I want to know this about this project or about some part of the tech. And it was really good because everybody got really good answers and everything else. But when we decided to make it a streaming thing, we just kind of on a whim said, why don't we make it into a DAO so that people, it can be later changed and plugged it into DIN, and there you go. So,
Wow.
So it's a DAO. Well, I think we need to use more of the DAO properties. We need to figure out how to like say some type of a bounty for people to get sponsors. You know, we don't have sponsors because none of us like there's not like a production company behind this, right? So it's not like a machine. Like sometimes if you go on to certain podcasts, you can tell it's a machine. Like they've got people there and they have this way they do things. So we don't have that, but we're
looking at you. We're looking at you, Dave Smith. Just
it's
kidding.
possible. It's possible. So anyway, we should probably use the DAO more in some way to help push it. But if anybody has any ideas, I'd vote for them. And I don't know. That's about all I have to say. Happy
I think
birthday!
it's the longest running DAO podcast in the world, right?
It almost has to be. I think it was definitely the first, so it has to be the longest. I don't know if
First
there
and
are. I
longest
know
running. How about that?
we made Super Happy Dragon Lucky into similar, but it was not from the start.
You know, it's kind of an extra challenge at the beginning to do it that way too. Not because DAOs are hard, DAOs are awesome, but because DAOs are dangerous to power. We were a counter case that needed to be overlooked because they did not want DAOs to have any evident utility beyond speculation. They wanted to frame them only as like, this is why we need regulation to tamp down on this, you know, this clear chicanery where these people are pretending like governance votes equal utility when really they're just a clear disguise for securities fraud, right?
Yep. Man, that's the truth.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't know. We should do more things with the DAO part of this. I mean, in terms of we should make more changes.
It's the second least utilized or least fully utilized tool in all of blockchain. If you want to innovate, DAO space has some magic in that hat, man.
I agree.
Sure does.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
Amazing stuff. Okay, so should we go into the questions? You guys ready?
I guess so. Does anyone else have anything to say? Just salute you, Joe, for maintaining this, creating this.
Cheers.
I just
all
wanted
things
about
matter.
a shout out to possibly the most punk rock music artist of all time, Kanye West.
Yes.
He knows no piety. He will brook no censorship. The man will say it because nobody else will, and that's good enough for him.
I'm impressed somebody else.
All my niggas
I've
are
tried to
nuts.
bring him
I
up
mean,
in
it's
past
like-
episodes.
I think the reason people hate him is because they're embarrassed they don't have those kinds of nuts.
I think it is so awesome. I think some of the stuff he's done in the past few years just been so amazing.
You don't have to like it to realize that it is avant art by a gifted auteur, you know?
Exactly. I mean, it's like, man, I do think that he's, wow.
He's exploding pieties in ways that you could not do without being completely okay with burning yourself down to decorate.
Philosophically,
decorate
it
your
fits.
message,
It fits in with, my again. Nothing is banned that isn't true. They will not censor something that isn't true, and I don't know if it's 100% true or whatever.
The inverse isn't necessarily true, right? Like you still can't conclude because something is censored, it must be true, but you can take it as like strong Bayesian evidence, right?
Sometimes it could be.
It's
something
winking
like
and nudging really hard at the truth if it's not actually the truth.
Where the Intel superstate wants to push something to what's the proper word? Muddying the waters, poisoning the well, essentially sending flat earthers onto 4chan to make everybody, it's like, oh, you're with those flat earthers. There are those types of things, but they're not typically. It's pretty easy because they don't put the full force behind actually trying to censor any of those.
No. Because if they did, they wind up in a situation where like they didn't know the outcome, right? Like, imagine being a guy who said something on a T-shirt that was so shocking and effective that it convinced an elite cadre of people to convince your wife to abandon you. That is getting their fucking goat, right? Like,
right.
Like
we don't say goats on here.
That was an act of courage, punctuated especially by her act of cowardice in response.
Man,
I just
Andrew,
would like to say, I would just
Andrew,
like to
what would
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Graham.
I was just going to say, I would like to raise my glass to the censorship and the the shadow banning. You tried, but you weren't successful. We're still running 4 years running. How's that?
This is
Hey,
terrible.
Damn right.
here.
It's only good
No,
growth
Andrew,
here, man.
I got a
shit.
question though, Andrew. What would Kanye's Enneagram be? What?
Oh, good question.
I don't know. I guess 8 would be 1 and 6 maybe.
Dude, you guys
What's that
should teach the Den Social bot to or the GPT that we've trained for Dragon Chain to understand Enneagram and take it into account when it suggests things to people. If you want to try that experiment, that'd be cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, it would be kind of
That's
fun.
interesting.
That
Yeah,
would
because I
be
don't even
fun.
I don't even understand. All the is that one of the personality
Yeah, framework.
Yeah, it's
thing?
like
It has a framework to personality.
it's a self-exploration tool.
Interesting.
It's Sufi mysticism. I mean,
That's kind of redundant.
All right.
Oh, welcome. Look at that. Look at that, Greg. Gift
Whoa.
Crypto's planning a coup.
Oh no.
uh-oh.
No,
Uh-oh.
Watch yourself.
real power hides from limelights. Let's put it that way.
Gift Crypto, been thinking about you, buddy. Hope everything's well.
All right.
There you go.
Yes, and thank you for that. That was like a total day brightener.
Right on. Okay, here we go. We will start. First, I need to refresh, don't I? So stablecoin surge. I'm not even certain what the wrapper should be.
I feel
for
like this has
right?
gained ironic meaning since it was created.
Yeah.
Yeah, who else put all their money in the 2018 bowl into stablecoins? Dayrox.
Yeah,
This is my question too. Dayrox is getting somewhere here with this. Why so many US dollar stablecoins? So okay, and I forgot.
same
forgot
reason
who-
Coinbase doesn't offer full proof of reserves.
Okay, so we're gonna start with Greg. All right, go Greg.
Okay, that was my short answer. The long answer is this. Every single one of those is a sort of diluted signal from the US dollar and the people who set its policy that can directly influence the dynamics of on-chain economics using the tools they have at hand at the Fed already. It is essentially a hack that allows them to use monetary policy to influence blockchain price movements and pick winners and losers. They can also, for instance, make sure to kill as many startups as possible by extending downturns and by delaying upturns and by making sure that every piece of good news is followed by a piece of bad price news that seems random and chaotic, right? It's how they hide the hand that moves behind the scenes to try to make crypto look like just another finance scam.
Yep. All right. Andrew.
I believe that there's, the more stable coins that exist, the more the probability is that one or two of them are going to fall. And so that's why there's a variety of different stable coins, is because the chance of stability is better in some cases, but at the same time, it's kind of like gaslighting the people that are trying to use it they think it's stable, but really it's gambling.
It's a difference between stability and nominality.
Right on. Zach.
The banking cartel co-opting with the federal government and all of its agencies to de-incentivize what crypto truly has a utility for. So both of their answers in a short term of how I'm saying it, it's just to prove that crypto needs to go, at least in the government's eyes.
Right. Sean?
I'm going to go a different route and kind of against y'all. Because y'all
Sorry,
are
you're wrong.
very negative and very, stable coin equals banks. I think it's an evolution in crypto, a part of crypto that a lot of people really look for and need, especially when it comes to the beginning of adoption, when it came to, small businesses taking Bitcoin for a price of coffee, but they are losing so much money per hour and making money per hour. It's too chaotic. So the stability was one. It's something that's necessary, and then when it is necessary, people looked at it and then saw the flaws in the system that we have. And there's been, and Greg should testify to this. There's been
what stability is the problem
that have tried to come out to be a stable coin, whether it's algorithmic, whether it's a basket, whether it's pegging itself to different assets. So there's been good ideas, but I think that's because we brought the dollar into the market and had a fresh perspective on it, and had people looking at just how the system actually works. Oh, there's no violence, there's no military backing this. So what? Well, then what's backing the real dollar? What's it's a. So I think it's all in all pretty decent.
But it's the problem is it's a paradox, right? It's a myth that you can't make. I've got to say this. I'm sorry, you can't make stable coins. They don't exist. You can make stabler coins, coins that move contra volatility, but even that
you can make detective stabler coins.
And the worst way to go about starting that project is to learn the hard way that the US dollar is not a stable coin, it's an always down coin.
Okay. Yes. And
is that stable though? Always going down?
So as long
we
as
have
you
rules
believe
here, guys.
that its nominal value equals its actual value.
We have rules, guys.
There is no law.
Stable coins are a fraud compounded on the fiat fraud, as far as I'm concerned.
Emperor sees control
for the concept.
Okay, can I talk now?
Oh, this is the Roman Colosseum. I'm letting you guys just run with it.
All right, so I never understood at the beginning when some of those stable coins came out, except the only thing I could see is that traders would want it so they could get into Bitcoin, and when in the days when you couldn't short anything, that you could get out into a stable, and also because some of the tax rules back then were potentially better if you exited to a stable coin instead of US dollar. I don't know. I couldn't figure out why they came out with more than one, but at the same time, the way Tether is run, it kind of makes sense, right? And I would wonder, it would be an amazing thing if instead of saying we're going to try to keep the value to $1, if you were just to follow this clock and just print as many stable coins as the Fed prints, and just say it's that way, and it'd be kind of fun. It would just.
But why do that at all? Like, why bother? Right? All you have to do is destroy the purchasing power of the thing you already control more, and you destroy the purchasing power of the on-chain thing. It actually drags down all of crypto.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I would say probably the real reason that so many US dollar stable coins exist is because they're playing the Fed. They're just being junior Fedsters, junior bankers.
They're all auditioning for the role of the next version of the Fed.
It's essentially a I don't it's so ridiculous how all of it works, but you can see whenever they print a bunch of Tether, Bitcoin will go up shortly thereafter, because that's all it's being used for, is to pump up Bitcoin. Anyway, William,
I wish it was
all right
for that.
So I got a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde answer here. He asked, why so many USD stable coins? Well, the US dollar is the stablest of them all. It is the world reserve currency. That's why.
The dollar is
totally you live in Germany, and I'm in the US. So see, I have these. You don't have these. No,
can I add to that?
It's the USD.
The dollar is already designed to mask price changes from hyperinflation conducted by government, right? Like, but a perfect thing to diversify lots of.
I'll give the opposite. To be honest with you, I love stable coins. I think they are a wonderful invention, and I believe that they are 100% backed by real, tangible assets, and I love them. And they're going to usher in the CBDC, which is going to take us to a whole new level of of bliss and joy and happiness.
Right.
That's my final answer.
I have. By the way, there are some things about the euro, for instance, that doesn't make it easy to make a stable coin. So anyway, I won't go into any of that though. But is that good enough? You guys go to the
Well,
next
I just want to say anything that matters is a good enough reason to drink.
Well, I want to know.
Have you ever had to
What
grab a
is
chair to
matter?
attack a goblin in a Dungeons and Dragons game because it was there and you didn't have yours on you, right? Like, I'm gonna expose my inner nerd here while I make this point, but what do you reach for if you don't get your CBDC passed, right? The nearest chair. Enter the stable coin.
Okay, Zach says this one is for last, no matter what. Does that mean you want this to be at the end?
Yeah. Let's get through the other ones and
Okay.
round out that one for the
We can do that.
last.
We can do that. How can user-friendly private coin mining software save the world? How can user-friendly private coin mining software save the world? You start, William?
Oh, sure. Mining should be fully regulated by the state. The government should regulate and ban private coin mining. Mining should be only done by large corporations so that the new coins that are minted, created, however you want to say it, mined into existence, should be properly divvied out to even the poor and to build more roads and more schools.
Always the roads.
But not on a means tested, right? You got to means test it if
Hey,
you want to
guys,
get the mass
wait.
surveillance going.
Wait. All right, so let's see here. I didn't start. Are you done? I didn't start the clock. I apologize.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm done because it's a wonderful thing, the idea of mining, but it should be controlled by the government.
Okay. So user friendly, and it depends on how that is. I mean, if it's theoretically, you could do something like I'm not proposing this at all, but it would be interesting anyway. Something like there have been nations in the past that have done models where the source of the currency was work. You could do something like that, but with crypto, which would be an interesting thing. I don't know if it would save the world, but it would be better than the Fed printing it, as would a lot of other things. Participation in that mining process, especially if it wasn't something where you required specialized hardware, would be good. So anyway, that's good. Let's see, Sean.
Turning user friendly into ultra blunt, poor and stupid. So if it's good for poor and stupid people, I think it's a very interesting question because it changes the dynamic of getting money throughout basically human history. Since the invention of money, it requires land, and that's why the richest people, the elites, the people who control everything, controlled the land. You couldn't hunt on the king's land. You couldn't do whatever. It's because that's where the assets were. If you can create assets, then it changes it to energy. The only thing you need to create money or value is energy. And I think that's kind of a telling thing in the question is that we've shifted from this asset-based world to everything's focused on energy and the control of energy, because that is the future of money. So I think it's an interesting question because of that.
Right on. Zach.
I agree with Sean on that. The future of the world is present and future. It's based in the resource of energy. So I'm going to yield to Andrew. He's waiting patiently.
Andrew.
Beware sharks patrol those waters, guys.
Oh man. Well, there should be a co-development process between the CIA and the FBI, and they both pre-line the 45% of the total amount that is going to be released, and everybody around the world is going to have to fight for the last 10%. So, and it's got to be stable and produced by the Federal Reserve.
You're talking about an engineered liquidity freeze designed to choke out the bottom 90% of people.
Yeah, and
Right.
if you try to retaliate, you go to jail.
There's like there was like a weird cryptic reference to some kind of glacier protocol by some of the more like finance occult priests of the 70s. It's worth looking up if you can still find it. Though even now, Yandex has submitted to the tyranny of using Google's index for American searchers. So it's getting harder and harder to find things on the internet they don't want you to find. Your mileage may vary. It exists, I promise. I'll send it to you if you can't find it. But
I want to say too oh, sorry, you're not done. You're not done. Good. Sorry.
No, I think people need to run far and fast from anything purporting to be a stable coin that has no natural movement whatsoever on its graph. That is what force looks like when expressed in financial terms. And it's not real. It's an ersatz trick meant to play to people's comfort with things that are labeled $1, even though that thing has only ever been nominally worth one of itself. In a sort of cynically circular way, and its real purchasing power has always been about its supply. The fact that we're adding more vectors to rehypothecate and compound the supply expansion thing, it's like open market ops democratized to everybody, and the only thing you can do is commit misfeasance out of ineptitude, just like the Fed.
Yeah, okay. I have something I'd like to add to this. As
poison, just learn to live.
I enjoy and admire centralism and central government, central planning. I think that the more central planning we have in our lives, the more stable our currency will be, and the more democracy we will have in our country. We have to protect the world. If software can protect the world from climate change, then that's the software we should, our governments are working in our best interest should, expand into our lives.
What about protecting from the great meteor?
Well, only our government could do that. And that's another thing that they should probably do.
Hey, I was going
to
to say
a little bit more money and track.
Someday we'll debate on Mars whether or not to deflect it for you.
Friend and colleague at Disney that would propose, and this is I don't find much fault in this. That the reason that Bitcoin has great value is that the energy that is used to produce the Bitcoin is I guess that you can map it, directly to how much energy does it take to produce, first of all, but then also mine something like gold or some other precious metal. It was very interesting. And when you say energy, but I don't know, energy is an important resource, but it's not the only one. So anyway,
well, I mean, and also like it's way more efficient when you compare it to the actual complete end-to-end U.S. dollar financial system and its energy consumption. Right. It's like an absurd upgrade.
And I think, frankly, beyond just the
no such thing as stable coins.
Beyond, I think it's one-dimensional even to only think of the energy. That you think of the evil, the evil produced from the printing of the dollar, I would say, outweighs every other evil in the history of mankind. So we've done more evil with the printing of U.S. dollar by the Fed. So it's not, I shouldn't even say we. They have done more evil than any other group in the history of mankind.
Dude, well, and it's how they exploit longer Cantillon periods where they.
Bitcoin, we've got
screw you over while they deal in the dark.
Bitcoin, we have jerks, maximalists that are with laser eyes and stupid shit on Twitter. Yeah, it's not really that evil. I would take them over to Fed any day, even the worst of them. Right?
Are you sure those aren't Feds?
Speaking of current, what's going on current now that we're on the Fed? You think that I guess Trump is trying to get the Fed to lower the interest rates? You think that's going to happen?
It's a distraction. Wouldn't matter if they did.
Yeah. It really wouldn't matter, but
I don't know. I'm disappointed in all of that stuff. Yeah, it's like, oh, we change everything.
Me a strong, hard to rebut sort of presumption that he has no idea how the Fed works. honestly.
Here's a
Orange
question.
man, good.
This is why we need user-friendly mining services.
I don't blame him for that. It's fucking hard to unravel it and be
And
certain
by the way,
of
I
anything.
think this question, Zach, is actually a software question because I mean, essentially, the software, the protocol, the engineering itself is what you can do this. It's doable. People aren't focused on it because everything's number go up. They don't. I mean, the main Bitcoin and most crypto people out there are not actually interested in technology, right? So,
well, I'm
foolishly,
I
because
paused
that's where
it.
the value actually hides.
Exactly.
I paused it, but the reason I asked this question is I'm using Tari right now, so that just released. So,
okay. Yeah. See, I'm not even.
Okay.
Too many people stare at the potential gains like lottery ticket winnings and completely miss the opportunity to capture value.
I
Because
think is it Sean? Sean, have you said anything on this, Sean?
Yeah, I said that the world's moving to energy.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. We went back. I was like, I'm going backwards. All right. So we're done with this question. We are done with this question.
We are done.
Great question.
We've already handled this.
I am 4am, the 4-year anniversary. I'll put this up here. I'll do this.
4 years later is still my favorite part of the week, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's very good. Yes, this is almost always fun.
1 year later, same thing.
4-year-old Dow show. Yeah. What's the episode number again? What is 208?
208.
I don't think we've missed a week. I think we might have gone like a couple of times where we had to move the date for holidays and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
But wow, amazing stuff.
There have been 208 weeks since we started doing these. That's for sure.
I love NPC memes. You know, there was a day that Twitter would ban you for posting NPC memes. Do you remember that?
So dumb.
We've raised the bar since then.
Yeah. Can government? This is I am for I am, by the way.
I remember when they banned "learn to code" hashtag when the journalists got fired. That was so bad.
Well, the poor journalists. Oh my god.
Dude, do you remember how Twitter before X had a mode where they could basically just say whatever they wanted at people who weren't verified, but filter out all people who weren't verified, and the only way to get verified was to either be anointed by them or pay Twitter a lot of money under the table?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was a big part of the power of the propaganda machine.
Because we were having so many scammers try to pretend they were Dragon Chain, stuff like that. We tried to get the little blue check mark, and they wouldn't give it to us. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I actually managed to break one of their baiting tweets where they promised to give it to you if you do something they thought was impossible at Twitter.
Oh, really?
I figured out a way to bring up a comment screen on a tweet that had comments turned off in test mode. They hadn't released it broadly, but they were daring me to break it.
Wow.
So I figured out a way to make it get all the way to the posting point and actively post before the post was returned failed.
That's cool.
I met their challenge and they did not give me a check mark.
Of course, because you are not in San Francisco and you cannot
even worse. 2 man-hating people replied from Twitter in a way that had a conversation about, of course, some asshole white guy would figure it out.
Huh.
Yeah.
I
mean, they use the coded epithet bro, but you get the point when they say it.
Wow. Man, that sucks.
It was pretty crazy. I still have screenshots. I just I kept the receipts. I just didn't make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, well, you should. You should ask for some check mark in perpetuity, since the old Twitter cheated you out of it. Okay. Can government regulations fix stable coins? Will normies think they're 100% backed by real assets? Start with Greg, because he has just taken a drink.
I hope not. If you still think that there's anything backing this shit other than trust me, bro, and people holding guns behind their backs while they tell you to do what's good for you, son, right? Like, that is the stablecoin edifice. What they will do is they will consume the rest of crypto like zombies just by sheer dint of volume when they ram it down everybody's throats the same way they did like pizza rolls. You know, you will choke on your stable coins and like it.
All right. Andrew.
It's a scam. Run.
Well, they won't fix it, but I was thinking, when the Federal Reserve they lower interest rates, they liquidate the stability, right? And so eventually we're gonna have to go negative interest rates like they have in Japan. Maybe a stable coin could be programmed, or maybe like the last question, where you're mining something that the more that they lower the interest rates into negative territory, the more difficult it is for you to produce whatever coin that it is you're making. I don't know. It's just an idea.
Yep. Zach.
That's actually fair. If you lower, excuse me. So if you lower the interest rates into the negative, and then use a stable coin as a basis towards actually stabilizing the dollar, perhaps you can keep it at a level elevated above complete collapse. But I still don't trust the government. But I mean, boomers, as I would refer to most
There's
of the
no
normies,
superhuman capable of doing the thing you just described.
Most people, I mean, that aren't in this field, they just want to pay their bills and live life. So they're going to believe that the government's doing everything right to save them, because they still have this fallacy that the government's still there to protect them.
It is.
Oh. Well, I mean, it is. It is in the sense that you can protect people with protection.
Sean.
Yeah, of course. But people are stupid, and that's. I mean, you use nice languages like people just want to work and pay their taxes, and they're stupid. But it's designed that way. The education system, everything's designed to make people more stupid. I mean, they're like, hey, this fluoride in the water really does make you stupid. Like, yeah, everyone knows that. There's a certain small group of people. The group that people is growing that are not stupid or that are questioning again. But I think people got the most trusting when back, Depression, World War II, that whenever we came together the most is when people trusted the most and gave the most power to the government. They never had trusted them before as much. And then that's when things went downhill. I think we're headed for a reset where people are like, no, we're going to wake up and they're going to, like Joe says, get the rope. But I think people will, of course, believe it. I don't think the government's going to fix stablecoins. No.
I can't escape the feeling though that
they
reset is a euphemism for dark age.
The people that trusted their government, especially after World War II, but let alone, I guess, especially after or during World War One, 1913. That's why we are where we are right now is because of that. And they basically made it so they could do anything they wanted in the entire world because they have so much money, and it's not good. So this is probably tongue in cheek, right? Government regulations fix stable coins. Yeah, they made the dollar, right? Well, couldn't they? It would be actually kind of fun to say, our stable coin is backed by. You'd have to come up with some good wording, but essentially the same thing that the U.S. dollar is backed by, right? But then you'd have to go kill people, so you probably can't do that. I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. What's the use of the word? Is fix? I mean, they do fix things like the mob fixes things.
Yeah, it's right. And I was thinking that this morning. The SEC, for instance, what's it there for? It's supposed to protect investors from predatory, whatever. And
they do.
And it's also a way station for careerist bureaucrats that look like.
That's the thing. It was obviously let to be put in place and retain power because it becomes an arm of the banks and all the people who were screwing the little guy. And that's all it is. That's all it is now. They don't give a shit about anything.
Power serves power.
Wants them to, it's what, what does Jamie Dimon want today, So it's ridiculous. Anyway, William.
Okay. All of you liberty-minded individuals, and I use the word individual because you're not following in lockstep with the government's narrative. The central planners know what's best for you, and they know what's best for all of us. And if they tell me that Tether is backed by assets, I trust and believe in my government. And they have been looking at Tether, and Tether still exists. So that tells me that the SEC is doing a fine job. The Federal Reserve is protecting our economy and the interest rates and not allowing the economy to collapse. And all of these good things are happening from the central government, and all of you seem to be trotting off in your own directions with these liberty-minded, backwards thinking, when you need to step up to the plate and realize that the folks in DC are working on your behalf in your best interest, and they're going to make sure that these stable coins are regulated, are stable, just like the name, and we can rely on that. If it needs more regulation, then fine, I'm okay.
Hey, I'm going to add something.
The funny thing, though, about relying on that, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's and the gods what is God's. So you can have your dollars back, government. I don't need them.
Let's play a little thought experiment here. Let's assume that their intentions are 100% pure. How does that make anything better? Because for the way that these people make policies, the worst thing to do is to admit you're wrong, and so they treat Cobra effects like new emergent problems. This leads to a compounding of Cobra effects until basically you take one step forward, 2 steps back until you fall on your ass, and that's the end of the game. Good intentions are in fact the path to hell when it comes to government force. So the fact that they might actually have good intentions, to me, it is a nightmare-inducing terrifier, because at least if they were malicious, they would have an eye on actual price signals and understand that what they were doing was something that they should be sneaky about, as opposed to proud to do.
Price controls work. They work every time.
You're right. You're absolutely right. They totally work at destroying honest economic activity and eliminating price signals that allow people to produce things efficiently.
You
exactly
give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Absolutely. You also give up. You got to have faith in your government. I feel better.
I've got a whole bag full of fine robes for the emperor that they can have, and that belongs to Caesar, because that's about what they've given us.
All right.
We were talking about this on our program for tomorrow. Actually, we pre-recorded it. But if you think about government in the terms of the Enneagram, you have 3 different flavors. You have 7, which is like Mexico or Scotland. You have 6, which is the United States or Britain, and then you have 5, which is Germany, or you have Taiwan. Which one best serves your needs as somebody who wants to build and produce things or have individual liberty?
Right. What is Japan?
But the Republic of China.
But do you think elites see the government the same way as a public utility that's supposed to do things that allegedly market economies can't do, even though they've never proven that?
I think
they just say it.
I mean, generations of different public figures have just went along with the program because that's how they're making money. But it's just how it developed and organically. Like, and governments can change, like the antebellum period, right? I think that was it. That would probably apply under Enneagram 7, the enthusiast. It was more freedom-minded, and now.
But this also presumes they're unconscious of it, right? Like, Bernays teach them how to engineer this, basically.
I thought that said an ass hat back.
Yeah.
Ass hat. Okay.
We should stop. We should stop giving them the benefit of the doubt of.
And I have a bonus question with this
making
one,
it really hard to see what's going on.
I think we're going to start at the top of this one. Okay, William. So the question is, will Tether US dollar token USDT continue to grow, or will it implode? So, but I want to add a bonus question to that. Why does Tether have ridges on its edges, and is it some anti-Semitic? All right, William.
Maybe.
Oh, I can't speak to the ridges on its edges. That's kind of an edgy question. So I'm going to pass on that one. But if I like I said, I trust the central planners, and if they tell me that USDT is stable and is asset backed, then it should grow, it should expand, and hopefully, because it's borderless and it's doing so remarkably well. I think it's a fine example of how we should probably gravitate and move more power towards the UN, being that the UN is borderless. And think of all the wonderful things we'll have when democracy is the ring of freedom around the world via the UN. I would, and then we could have just one central bank.
Right,
You see where I'm
collectivist
going
democracy,
here?
you mean,
It'd be
right?
more centralized.
Where the electorate is actually the institutions that run the government.
Now, Greg, you can't interrupt me on my, I'm pontificating here. So what I think if you will embrace centralism like I have, you'll notice the weight off of your shoulders. Just, you can breathe easier. You know that the government is there for you.
It's probably an unbowdlerized version of the Julius Caesar tragedy, somewhere written by a Shakespeare that got into the economics of it. And
Greg's going
kind
next.
of clarified that by accident.
Greg.
I think it's peeing in your face while they call it rain. Honestly, the ridges are notorious in the world of basically monetary debasement for the benefit of the ruler. In the sense that those make it a hell of a lot easier to scrape chunks of a coin that's made of a valuable metal off, while rehashing it, you preserve the illusion that it's unscrapable. It's security theater on a token.
So funny. That's good.
It's basically an admission that they're fucking you, designed as a thing to make you feel good about it.
I like it. That's good.
Kabuki coin.
Andrew.
I mean, Tether has got a long history of shady shit going on with it. So,
no,
I definitely no. I'm just saying. I think it's definitely it's a bubble waiting to happen, and everyone knows about it. Everyone talks about it, but at the same time, everyone's so intoxicated at the price of crypto. They're willfully ignorant of the matter. So, as for the shaving of the coin, I think that kind of feeds into my answer.
Yep, flipping.
Coin flipping.
Okay, so I'm gonna go next. I'm doing this weird snake route through the list here. I think, I don't know if it'll continue to go. I mean, I at one point, like, so when we had to cash out Bitcoin back in the day for Dragon Chain, we had to do a bunch of stuff. I was always scared to hold Tether. And it's kind of a crazy thing, but whenever whenever I have any amount of Tether, I'm like, I can't hold it in Tether. It's like that just doesn't work, right? I don't trust it. I don't trust that Tether is going to be around forever. And the most useful thing about Tether, frankly, and everybody probably gets this, is whenever you see a report that 2 or 4 billion new Tether have been printed. It's like just go buy some Bitcoin, because that's the only reason that it's being made is to pump Bitcoin. So that's how they do it. That's how the timing works. It's not an immediate. It takes a while.
Tether's probably there though as a cold demolition that they can execute when they want to protect USDC, which is really where the poison is.
See, I don't even know that. All right, so Sean.
I think the question is incorrect. I think it's fake. I think it's the same with a lot of y'all's way of thinking. Tether has grown. It's going to continue to grow. It's on tons of different chains. A lot of the problems I had with it when it was just an ERC 20 with the fees and all have been fixed. You can use Tron USDT. There's Kronos USDT. There's so many chains. It's grown so much. It's going to continue to grow. Because it will implode. Just like the U.S. dollar, it's going to implode. So it's not that makes it wrong. The shade thing is it ruffles a lot of feathers, and ruffles have ridges. So that's why it has ridges.
that's one of the best answers.
But when it comes to the trust thing, literally, when it comes to stability control, that's when you have to have something that's approved by the government. When USDC was they were looking at canceling or making it illegal, it dropped. A lot of exchanges dropped it. It was, and the value of it went down. Remember, for like a few days, it went to way under.
I thought that was mostly because they decided
it
to
happened,
weirdly
whatever
back
the
a good
reason
chunk
was,
of their
it
reserves
happened.
with
That's not
DAI.
stable. So the whole thing about stability is the people with the guns. It is that they allow it. It is that they control it. So when you come out of Bitcoin or you come out of real crypto, that's where you put your money, because that's where the people with the guns have the control.
Yeah.
Lisa mentions Boring Sleuth. I believe he's in Kansas City, and I believe that's one of the people that I want to get on that show, Greg, when we do the
dungeon show.
No, the show where it's going to be
driving.
Where the car will drive itself, and we just go pick up somebody and talk to them, right? So you guys are gonna have to move to Kansas City as the main thing.
Do you guys remember the film Broken Arrow with that
Christian
guy
Slater.
from Greece?
Christian
That
Slater.
guy from Greece and Christian Slater, yeah. The opening scene where they're boxing as one of the only pieces of brilliant acting I've ever seen out of out of
John Travolta.
Travolta, right?
Travolta.
Best acting of his career was in that movie, and that's not a compliment. But
have you seen Battlefield Earth?
But there was
I would like.
Yes.
Oh my God! I tried to
watch
watch that once because it was so.
No, but the point. Let me get to the point I was trying to make real quick. He explains how Muhammad Ali executes a rope-a-dope. Well, he executes it, and I'm trying to make an analogy here to USDT and USDC as sort of the feint that makes the opponent think the arms of the adversary have run out. You will run willingly into the arms of USDC when they start publicly whipping USDT for malfeasance they intentionally set up for it to do. And that's when you will be trapped in the real CBDC. It is
Zach has not gone yet.
Scare ruse to get you to run into a snare.
Hey.
I'm gonna add an extra bonus question since you had to wait. Since Ruffles have ridges, what is the most anti-Semitic flavor of Ruffles?
Dang, that's tough. I'm gonna go with
sea salt.
Foreskin.
Foreskin, yeah. Foreskin. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with sour cream and cheddar foreskins because that's my favorite flavor. Honestly,
Israel doesn't have sea salt compared to
shellfish. Yeah. Shellfish chips.
Sean did take my. That was a really good answer. Yeah, because I think it's stable enough to make to make the illusion that the dollar is something. It's inevitably going to implode because I mean, every exchange, every currency ends up imploding when you put too much into it eventually. So I'm just going to say I agree with Sean.
Right on. That's perfect. Okay. Next
it will
question.
last so long as they can point guns at you. Make you believe that.
Yeah, that's the one thing that they have, and it's a really big country. We're too far away from, we can't march on the Capitol. So that's the.
Although we could follow the Chinese way, right? Our brothers in China being oppressed.
Why would you want to march on the Capitol? That makes no sense to me.
It's a great way to stay in shape.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Will stablecoins become our CBDC that enslaves us? Let's start with Greg.
Well, stablecoin, not if we don't fall for it. It should be pretty obvious. Like Tether is basically hanging the freaking gun they're going to shoot you with on the wall in Act 1, right? Open your eyes. Try to live without a thing that has a nominal value that stays the same. It's actually kind of an amazing way to attune yourself to your purchasing power. I kept my money in ETH when I was able to be paid in crypto before they killed all the liquidity networks and I had to go back to checks. And I got an intuition for how much my money was actually worth that I never had with nominal dollars. It is a crutch that is actually hurting you, like shaving cream or fucking water restrictors on your shower.
Yep.
Take it off and live free and see if you do really need it. I think you'd be surprised how little you want it back once you don't have it.
Excellent answer. Excellent. Andrew.
Well, I mean, stablecoins are a house of cards because they have equal trading pairs between, DAI and USDT and USDC and just all the U.S. dollars. Once one falls, a majority of them falls, I think, because everyone's trying to get out while they can, and it just becomes unstable.
Excellent. Zach.
I mean, we're already effectively enslaved as long as we're enslaved up here. So we we can escape that by getting out of their system and not allowing our mentality to flood into the physical world and divorce from their system in some capacity, and don't use their stable coins, don't use Tether, don't even use
Pay
their
the tax
system.
penalty and get out of the system, man.
Exactly. There's always that one tax penalty that you can actually, you're done. I mean, unless they come after you because you're a big name like Roger Ver, but we're not big names like Roger Ver, so we can pay that penalty and go hide, and nobody's going to care.
A 10% penalty on 401k money you didn't ask them to put away for you is still a windfall if you get it back, right? Take it out of the hands of the money managers.
I love you guys,
Sean.
but if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a wagon. The answer is yeah, of course.
That sounds like logic.
It's going to
It's
I mean, you could sit here and say not if we don't do this, and if people and we got to do people are it's gonna no. Everything they do works. It's been working for a long time. It always works. I mean, there's so much when you look at the buildings from New York that went down. There's like all this crap, and the only thing on the other side of the scale is the government said that it was this, and that's it.
Everyone knew they were supposed to say Lysenkoism worked too,
it's
though.
Not like they have to come up with elaborate plans or crazy things like drugs and MK Ultra kind of stuff. If they need to, they can. They reserve that stuff for the smart people, but they don't need to do that for the masses.
Glad you did.
So a lot, you just got to let it play out, let it fall apart, and then hang them from the lamppost. That's it.
Yeah, that's what's coming. So hopefully not. I mean, I don't think stable coins are going to be. I mean, you think about it. The normal person can't figure out why they need to use crypto because it's only number go up, right? And then the crypto people can't figure out why we need stable coins. So I don't really see the normal people using stable coins right now. Now, if it is just plugged in, which what we already have, the dollar is digital anyway, so it's kind of meaningless anyway. How different would a CBDC be to quote enslave us, right? I mean, we're already enslaved. Do we have a CBDC? I don't know. We already have slavery, and it's all here. All the slavery we have is right here with fear and
they're kind of exploiting too, right? A different attack angle.
Yeah. Anyway,
when William held up that money, the dollars, it looks odd to me, like he was holding up something from the Civil War, like a silver note. Yeah. Like when it's like kids' birthdays or grandkids' birthdays, I don't have cash. I haven't felt cash or used cash or had change. I've just used crypto and debit cards and credit for the past 10 years maybe. And like US dollars, you just call it dirty fiat. I haven't touched it. I've used silver and gold to buy stuff more than I have paper money. Nice. So everything, but my point is, when it comes to, and I had this argument with a friend of mine who was always talking about my, monopoly money and stupid internet money. And he said, I only use cash, brother. Cash is king. And I got real pissed. And I remember I went off on it. I said, really? Really? You work for fucking cash? Every week do you go up to the cage and you get your paper money get handed out to you by a lady behind the cage? He's like, no, I get direct deposit. I was like, oh really? A bunch of fucking ones and zeros, really? Really? You don't, and then it's like, you don't have cash, dude. You don't use cash. No one uses cash.
Yeah.
You already use.
In fact, if you try to get all of that in cash, they'll probably try to arrest you.
Exactly. So people are, in fact, you can't use it. I tried. This woman at the electric company was a terrible, evil woman in the little town I used to live in when I was like young. She used to try to turn my electricity off. She would close like 5 minutes early when I was there at the door. Evil woman. So I got pissed. And I came in and paid my $150 electric bill, which God, I wish I had that in pennies. And I put it on the fucking counter. And she called the police. And they were going to arrest me or give me a ticket because it was against the law.
Legal tender, man.
No, that's what I
It's
said.
legal.
They said no because you're trying to interfere with the flow of a business. I don't remember whether I think it was a state law. It was interfered with the flow of it because I was purposely trying to make her
Are you
count
sure?
because they have to count it out. The week before,
Yep.
I gave her like
like a
4
hard road to
quarters,
hoe
and
on
she
probable
counted the
cause.
quarters. And I said, "You don't have to count; it's 4 quarters." Like you're a bitch. I know you're a bitch. You don't have to count the 4 quarters. They're 4, it's $1. And she said, "No, I have to count it. It's the policy. I have to count all change." And when she said that, I had the light bulb went off. I was like, "I'm fucking you next month."
It's weird when people
So I
worship
brought in
compliance
pennies.
officers at
It
work,
was
isn't
so
it?
hard to get that much in pennies, but I did it. And she called the cops.
Wow.
So
Have you,
I don't-
have
have
you
two
seen the
things to
videos
add.
of people?
And
The
I
hallmark
just
of
think it's-
stupid
I-
people is
Pretty
that is
pretty
when they
good.
hurt you to no
I
benefit
do
to
think it's
themselves.
funny.
can I add 2 things before because our emperor is muted. He's been
I haven't
silenced.
answered the question.
I know. It's still your turn. I'll go after
Mm.
you. I have 2 things to add.
Oh, okay. So I can go.
Yes.
All right. Now that I've
His emperor
embraced-
has spoken.
now that I've embraced the cultist ideological idea of a central planner and government, I feel much better about it, and I want to share it and proselyte this to the world. And no better place than to start right here with 4 years of running show. But many people have heard of MMT, and I'm not talking about the Beatles' magical
Mhm.
mystery tour. I'm talking about modern monetary theory, and it's
Magic
about
monetary.
a public monopoly, and rather than a private monopoly. And all of us don't like private monopolies; these big corporations,
Mhm.
but we like public monopolies, and that's where I think a CBDC, you have to be free to be enslaved. And we want to be enslaved by CBDCs so that we can have UBI, modern monetary theory can just run wild and we will have more. Democracy will be stronger. And so I welcome the day that CBDCs aren't hidden anymore like they are right now because the dollar is digital and becomes more open. And then it's more widely accepted, even on our MasterCard and Visa and everything else. So I
No
welcome
scarcity, baby.
Okay, but very good point.
If governments actually
so
didn't
2
really like
things.
monopolies, they would
2
they would
things.
fucking stop issuing them.
So to Sean's point, it's interesting when one of the many times that a bank shut down our account at Dragon Chain, there was one of them where it was Chase, and don't ask me why we were banking with Chase in the first place. But either way, we had a bank account, and they called us and they gave us like 4 or 5 days to clear everything out. You have to have your money out of here and blah blah blah, and like. And so I was going to go down, and we had a couple $1 million in the bank, and I was going to take the money out and carry it to the next bank, right? And it's like, yeah, you couldn't do it. They don't have that money. They don't have that money. And it's like, not only do we not allow you to do that, it's like, well, it's my money. It's like, oh, we'll write you we'll write you paper, and you can take the.
You're
paper.
lucky the local sheriff didn't bank there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They would
Anyway,
let
so-
you have that. They would have let you have
But
too much liquidity
to
and
Greg's
then
point-
recouped it in the civil
Greg's
asset
point,
forfeiture.
I would say anybody who's watching this show should do this if you haven't already, and a lot of you probably have. You should just get a mobile wallet, buy like a small amount, even like $20, $100 if you want, something like that. A small
Chip your
amount.
coffee
of-
budget in it.
of
Something you wouldn't
crypto.
miss if you didn't have
Yes,
it. Really.
something you wouldn't miss if you lose your phone or something because your keys are there. Make sure it's a real wallet. Your keys are there, and seek out places to purchase stuff with that. Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing. and it depends upon the timeline, of course. But I remember doing this with Bitcoin back in the day, even up to when I was working at Disney. That it's like, oh, we should move to Seattle. There are places that take Bitcoin here, right? So I started looking for places where I could spend the Bitcoin, and I ended up buying stuff online quite a bit. But it was amazing because every time I would go back, it's like, oh, I could buy as a Bitcoin. Let me go. I'm going to go, spend it. And the amount of the value that I had in my wallet was like 4 times what it was the last time that I spent money there. So it never ran out. It was just this crazy thing. It was like an endless supply of value.
Correct.
And it's rather than a stable coin, right? It's amazing. And it can go down too, but
Well, they were figuring out how to manipulate it, though. It was pretty much always up for a while.
yes. Yeah.
Once they figured it out, though, they really got us in the teeth, didn't they? We felt all the inflation.
That was the last question. And so we scroll back up and we go to this one for last, no matter what. Where does World Blockchain Roundtable go from here? I'm going to give that all of my energy.
Damn.
I'm kind of exhausted. I'll see you later.
I depleted the bank.
All right. So who wants to go first?
We're going to the moon, baby. We're going to the moon.
We're going to Pluto.
We'll go from here.
Going to Ceres. No one talks about that planet.
Greg, you want to answer this first?
Yeah, sure. World Blockchain Roundtable is individually itself kind of going to do what it does, right? We are going to take one step forward every week, and we're going to refine the model, and we're going to iterate on it, and we're going to try to make this show the best version of itself it can be. And we're going to try to teach people how not to get fucked and how to protect themselves, and how to build and how to care about building, right? Like the enthusiasm for creation and the future needs to take precedence over, bookkeepings of the past and studying historical patterns, hoping we can read tea leaves and eliminate the need for risk somehow. That ain't happening. Right here, we're going to embrace risk, and we are going to try new things, and we are going to try to get other people to adopt this model and subvert it for their own purposes. That's where we're headed.
Right on. Andrew.
We're going to follow the ZeroNet implementation and do the World Blockchain Roundtable over the BitTorrent protocol.
Headline.
Interesting.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? All right, Zach.
What we need to do is we need to go mainstream, and we need to get contracts with Apple TV. Shout out to Lee for that one.
Exclusive. Only you have to have an Apple TV.
Exclusive.
Only if you promise
Apple.
to hire Amazon's Apple TV app developer. That way you can maximize pledge.
No,
that's the
I
most
think,
annoying thing ever, by the way.
Yeah. I think realistically, I think from here we keep doing what we're doing, and we keep evolving each and every week and coming together and bringing everybody solutions, and with some quirky humor, obviously, to brighten things up. Because I mean, the world is too somber these days. So I mean, we got to keep on bringing about the solutions, showing that the world has discourse that we have yet to deplete.
Right on. Sean. Sean. What do you think? Sean, are you muted? I can't tell.
I think you might be muted.
Okay.
Probably said
we missed it.
And that's
reboot.
I know it's prophetic, and I know it changed lives. But that's it. That's the truth.
All right.
Has to say about that.
I think Lisa has a great idea for us to have an actual meetup. Do something live for the 5-year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah. Even in Kansas City, so y'all are lazy as shit and don't have to go anywhere. But
genuinely subversive hackathons are coming soon.
And Lee was hilarious that we all have faces for radio, so that's probably,
that was nice.
I think like Zach said, kind of keep doing what we're doing. I wish you could play that video I put in the chat where that guy said, "You want to know something crazy? Blockchain was invented predates our civilization.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's designed for us to have commerce with the aliens. But then when I think about it, it's like, oh, well, talk about borderless.
Egyptian built submarines. That's
Yeah.
how they got it done.
Yeah.
There's
I've always wondered why.
it's what the Anunnakis had in their little purse that they're carrying. It's a Bitcoin.
How
It was all
badly?
Bitcoin.
Honestly, it's such a cool myth structure. I almost hate to tear it apart.
How badly could we rate the most sci-fi that it didn't predict the internet or blockchain crypto, right?
Dude.
Or
Some
did.
sci-fi.
it did AI.
Star Trek invented did talk about the net and web, and most of them talked about credit chits or credits or some kind of universal.
Dan Simmons beat fucking what's his face at General Magic to the idea of the pocket crystal.
No.
Check out the comm log if you read that classic piece of genius science fiction and weep, because in 1989 Dan Simmons invented it.
Nice. Anyway, I don't want to say. I mean, I would like to see more change ups. So if people have ideas, what could we do to change this up? You know, if we get sponsors, it would help. But at the same time, it's like just changing it up would be fun. And it's a lot of us are busy, so we don't have time. But if anybody out there, you know, that has tokens, you can propose something. Just, you know, vote me off for every show that occurs on an even numbered day or something, right? That'd be any day that ends in Y, something like that. I don't know.
All wrong answers.
Yeah. Anyway, William.
Yeah, I foresee a day when we get to meet up together and do a live show. That'll be fun. And I also see a day where we won't be shadow banned or worried about what we say, self-censor. We won't be worried about what we play on the show for video or discuss about on the news. That I see a day where World Blockchain Roundtable as a DAO other shows will learn about it, hear about it, and adopt the technology.
Mm-hmm.
And I see a day when this show won't be on din.social, but it'll be on D-Platform.
Yeah.
Where it will have a larger audience of individuals who have been deplatformed, who have been censored, who have been canceled, who've been banned from other sites, but have large followings because why? They censor the truth. And I see a future where World Blockchain Roundtable will grow in that realm, and the realm of truth seekers will seek us out and find us.
And people may not remember we did it, but we will have lit the way and we'll know it. In fact, I honestly hope that it's apocryphal lore and that only the people in the audience right now remember where it all started.
Yeah, William's talking about like Andrew Tate. He'll be on.
Just so you can be punk as fuck and smug about it when people tell you that they were excited
Jones and
so
Andrew
early,
Tate.
and you're like there 20 years before it happened.
I look forward to the UN sponsoring our show.
So there's somewhere out there is a Substack thread where a guy gets into an argument about how zip files work with its creator, and the person did not know they were arguing with the creator of the zip file about how zip files worked.
I'm sure that's going to be in the current events.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of which, we now move to current events and memes. Who wants to say anything about South African? What are they? They're asylum seekers, I guess, right?
Yeah, they're being granted asylum because their government's literally like the leaders are like
it's a worse cover up than the Armenian genocide.
Yeah, and they're honestly, like people are pissed because they're white and they're orderly in the.
I will tell you, I've followed that situation for a lot longer than most people in the West because I had this Google alert that would pop up on my last name, right? And there's some dude named Ernst Roots that is South African and was calling this stuff out 15 years ago. All the murders and the farm murders. I think is what they call them. But there's some nasty, bad stuff. And
it's terrible.
On forever. And the left didn't want to do anything. And it's like what the Episcopalian church or some Episcopalian org decided that they were going to stop altogether helping with immigrants because these were white. It was so funny.
Yeah, the stuff going on there
Episcopalian
is
is
like whatever America was at its
clown
worst.
honk of a spelling.
Whatever
for
you look
religion.
back at, whatever the worst you think America was, it's worse than that. If we had lynchings, it's worse. The violence and the blind eye of the federal government. It's one thing the federal government always acted in the United States like it wasn't, like, oh, that's wrong. That's so bad there. So bad.
Yep. Really bad. I don't know. Anything else? You guys?
Yeah, Trump firing, what's his name? Because he went behind him with Netanyahu, not going to Israel while he's on a Middle East tour. Those are huge things.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Okay.
I did any of you watch his speech in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia?
I saw a couple of clips.
Yeah, I saw some clips.
It was a huge moment. It's a change in policy. The problem is the policy is going to change in 4 years if the next president comes in and wants to revert it back. But
The accelerationists are right.
Honestly, I think his speech in Riyadh was just the beginning of Riyadh season for WWE.
That's good.
I feel like this is one of those like recycled fads, kind of. People are programmed pretty easily, right? Like they figured out the grunge pattern and they made it last into the late 90s before they ran out of steam there. And they took like 80s hip hop and resurrected it when they erased gangster rap from the history of hip hop. Like music is definitely managed and a form of social control, just as are other cultural products that are that have any centralized production. You should always be wary of the thing they want you to believe, even if you know that you're being targeted for belief manipulation. Like they're looking for subtle secondary effects. Do not ever feel like you're smart enough to be immune.
Music is controlled by people with pointy noses.
Is that it?
Falcons?
Oh, yeah.
Music was the second version of Hollywood.
Yeah.
TV
More
was version
lame
3,
version.
right? Like you can see them go through the alphabet on the award ceremonies that have oddly similar names.
Speaking of Hollywood, do you
Is
know
it a
how
Grammy, an Emmy, or an
the new
Oscar?
Pope prepared for his interview for his papalency?
Oh,
What? Say that again?
You watched
I thought
that
they used to
movie.
name desserts.
You watched
after
that movie
branded after
Conclave the
versions
night
of
before
desserts.
to prepare for it.
How
Literally, how
is
he
that
gave him
movie?
the blueprint of how to get in there.
Wow.
So
You hear about
Heil
this,
Hitler. Yeah. What about the Kanye song?
haven't heard
Kanye
it
wrote
yet.
a metaphorical song about how he was being demonized unfairly in a way that was very, very Nazi-like. And of course, what they did, right, was turn around to the fact that he's using Nazi symbolism and claim, like a bunch of depthless, artless rubes, that somehow that means Nazi. Well, at the same time, actively engaging in literal Nazi tactics in other domains, and not recognizing the irony of the fact that Kanye just reflected themselves back at each other, and is hearing how much they hate themselves directed at him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I followed that all the way through.
All the people who are crying Nazi are the Nazis.
Oh yeah.
This has been
basically.
obvious for some
It's
time.
the
It's
whole thing-
becoming
the whole
obvious
world's
to some
fake,
of them now.
so it's all so fake. It's just like it might as well all be, MK Ultra. Everything is. It's so ridiculous. And if you look up what MK Ultra actually is, it's not just some conspiracy theory thing.
Yeah,
It's real. But
Yeah.
look up
I don't even know
how
what it is yet.
they do what they do, and consider that's your government that did that and does that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
It's
it
plausible
is
evidence
some
they
of the
created
nastiest
Manson
stuff
and the
you will ever read.
Unabomber as
So-
part of that experiment.
Yeah, it's
Not just created, engineered iteratively.
crazy. Yeah.
The goal was to be able to
Indeed.
program sleepers who didn't know they were sleepers. It was like Manchurian Candidate project. Right. The end
No.
aim was to make it so that plausible deniability could get you to be a dumb assassin.
Now, could theoretically, because Ted Kaczynski went completely insane, do you think that he figured out that he was a sleeper? And that
I don't think that he had any concept of it that would have been rational anymore. Like he may have realized that he was something that they created. But what they created had such warped values that it had no concept that what was done to it was wrong.
The problem with MK Ultras is it didn't scale, so they had to come up with a way so it could scale.
Unless it could
be able to pipe it through media,
and they just wanted us to think.
So the mainstream media became the mouthpiece, which was the drug that was in MK Ultra, and that's why you get mass psychosis. It's just mass psychosis is the extension or the evolution of MK Ultra on the masses. That's what I believe. By the Intel Superstate. How's that?
It's every reveal of information is always a partial hangout and also an op in all likelihood. So like be careful about what you assume from patterns you see, because they expect you'll spot obvious patterns. And they're really after people who spot the subtle ones that hide the real treachery.
This one's one of the best memes in the past, the recent timeline. It's really good.
Wow.
And it's funny. It's funny. You can't really say it. It's funny.
Oh my goodness.
Man. Yeah, again, I only display them. There's some censorship, but these were compiled en masse. Mostly from 4chan in the past, but recently on X.
What has replaced 4chan, Joe?
I'm surprised those guys didn't cancel.
4chan is back, by the way.
Punisher.
4chan is back. So.
Oh, it's back up.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
remarkable.
I don't know what the story was, or I don't follow to that level, but it is
Further
definitely
evidence that those who do not give up are the winners.
Yep,
that's true.
And I would say generally though, even with 4chan back, I think 4chan has been replaced by X. So however that works, you can actually post stuff on X now, you kind of. So,
Yeah, I've been getting deboosted a lot less lately for trying to say things that are of substance.
Yeah.
Although Warpcast is still way better. If you guys aren't on Warpcast, you should seriously try it. They're gonna it's a not Warpcast, Farcaster Network. It is an X clone built to connect to the Farcaster Network. And one of the neat things it has are basically just like permissionless mini apps. So whereas like whoever the fuck decides what you're allowed to have in the bottom bar of X, the GIF button, a photo upload button that still doesn't have the ability to search your library.
Wait a minute, I have to interrupt you here. Did you say GIF?
Yeah, I know. It's just
GIF is the right answer, by the way.
No, GIF is not that.
GIF was at least the way the original creator of the concept pronounced
who's a
it.
fucking idiot. Who is a fucking
choosy
idiot.
Developers choose GIF is not catchy.
Andrew, would you like to intervene on this and say what it's really called?
GIF.
It's a historical fact that the person who developed it stated it was that way, GIF.
Just like Satoshi doesn't matter. That does not matter.
He was riffing on peanut butter.
I will say, if anything, the two things that would really end the argument are, first of all, he's an idiot for calling it GIF, and second, he invented the GIF. Therefore, he's an idiot.
No, the GIF was itself a meme that referenced the peanut butter commercial. Come on.
I prefer calling it a motion JPEG.
This is
it was a compressed video that marketed itself because of its file extension.
I'm going to post
like zip drives and zip files, right? Like zip drive was not anything to do with zip.
This is the
file extensions were fucking the URLs of the 90s, man.
Pronouncing.
Oh my gosh.
Argue over this. Evangelion.
I like this. I like this meme right here. I mean, wanting your life to be like a 80s movie.
Dude, don't be somebody who like literally mispronounces the word subtle because they've only ever seen it spelled and never spoken, and then when you find out the B is silent, you
Are you
just
still going on
persist
about
because
gifs?
you're a dick.
Yeah, he's being
Yes.
very chaotic.
Don't persist,
Nothing but
man.
chaos in here.
Just admit that you've only read it before. So when the guy who wrote it decided how to pronounce it,
He doesn't get to decide.
you're
to show
hey.
that the gods are watching. The next meme up is literally this one. So, it's like it's pretty meaningful.
It's weird how you
But,
read it. I read that.
Going back to that other meme though, what 80s movies? What 80 movie would you want to be? I would want to be the Reanimator.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeez, I don't even know.
I own the Animator
really...
and the Animator 2.
Jimmy Curry, Legend of the Overfiend.
I've only seen I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah, I'd say
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Overrated. Oh God! See,
I lived it, so I'll just
Raiders of the Lost Ark. I used to think it was a fun movie when I was a kid, but man, I don't know. Most '80s movies they're not any good, any better than movies now. It's just that
Tremors
back then we were dumb.
Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
I mean, there are some funny 16 Candles is still a really funny movie. You can watch that again. Jerk. The Jerk is probably my favorite.
Remind you how Date Rape used to be
The Jerk is great.
Jerk's amazing. It's like you can watch it over and over. It's like, oh, it's still funny.
You can't
say anything because I'm romantic.
What was the one?
Porky's was pretty badass.
What was the one where the African
Porky's
tribe member found the Coca-Cola bottle in the desert? Gods
What
must
was
be
that?
crazy or something like that.
Oh, I never saw that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh,
Porky's was the last of 1970s R-rated definitions.
I always
Monty
thought that was
Python.
just a different version of the Crocodile Dundee things, which was kind of like the same thing. It's like, oh, we have this crazy person who's not used to normal, to modern, whatever, and we're gonna bring him in. And he's like, he has a knife, and he has an accent. And he's like,
Did anybody feel insulted by that though?
Life.
Like the people that wrote that actually thought generally in the public that Down Under was the opposite of Up Here because of the Coriolis effect. Like these people are really stupid. Down Under must be upside down to them. Let's make a movie that panders to that as a joke.
What they changed Sorcerer's Stone to, or what they changed? I can't remember.
Philosopher's Stone to Sorcerer's
Yeah.
Stone.
Yeah.
The Sorcerer, yeah.
Same type of thing. Like
The 80s was like the
Americans
era of
can't
people who
understand
felt
what
like
a-
Americans were too stupid to have smart movies.
Yeah, and that's Holly. That's what Hollywood thinks of us.
How about Star Wars?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it's all a freaking.
I will say,
Star Wars is 77.
when my kids,
Always
that's true. When my kids watched the Star Wars, we watched them in the I guess what would be the chronological order, not the production order, right? And it is interesting to me because when we went from the episode 1, 2, 3, and then we went into episode 4, it was noticeable how episode 4 was fun. Compared to the others are like, oh, it's so serious. And
I want to know who really wrote it. There has to be
was actually
conspiracy
kinda
theory
like,
about this.
Anyway,
There's no way George
You
Lucas
also
wrote
lose
that
that
shit.
shock
He never
of
wrote
finding
another
out
good thing in his
Vader's
life.
dad. That's a
I
big
have
part of
the-
the experience.
Well, George Lucas, he took Star Wars and like carbon copied it from other movies,
Yeah.
so that's probably why it was really good. Like Hidden Fortress is amazing. Like Akira Kurosawa, he literally took like almost every Akira Kurosawa film and just meshed it into Star Wars, and
He
that's
did,
why
yep.
Star Wars is amazing just because of like it's Kurosawa.
Oh, right. It's also why people only know it as the Penis Monster movie, when in reality it's actually kind of an existential tale. It's a piece of philosophy.
I have it on good authority that Joseph Biden's favorite 80s movie was called Coming to America, starring Eddie Murphy.
That was a classic, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fun.
I would say Trading Places was better than Coming to America.
Oh yeah, I like that one.
I don't know if
man.
anybody would agree,
How about
but
Back
I
to the
think it is.
Future? That was
Criterion.
Back to
As
the
a,
Future.
as a,
Future,
as
that
a
was the tits.
teenager, I would disagree. As an
Top
adult,
Gun,
I
though,
would
was my
agree.
favorite movie in the 80s, man.
Back to the Future was a good movie. I
This
haven't
Modeled
seen
by
that in a long
behavior,
time,
first
though.
day of kindergarten, or first
how
day of
about
first
Dead
grade
Poets
off of Tom
Society?
Cruise in the classroom in that movie.
This movie right here by Tarkovsky.
Ivan's Childhood.
Ivan's Childhood is amazing.
Really?
I would recommend it. That's not from the
let's
80s.
go.
Okay, how about best 90s movie?
The Matrix.
90s movie?
The Matrix.
Yeah.
Brave-
the
Braveheart?
That's a
Braveheart?
pretty big winner.
Braveheart.
The Matrix.
Hey,
Matrix maybe. Braveheart though.
Jurassic
Well,
Park.
Braveheart. Yeah.
I'm a
Braveheart
child.
applies today.
Yeah, Braveheart's awesome.
Event
It's still going to be
Horizon's mine.
Jurassic Park, man. I was 4 years old when that came out, and it's still awesome to me. And they
Event
ruined it with
Horizon taught
Jurassic
a
World.
bunch of future internet trolls how to think about wormholes, at least passably enough to to pass as experts and screw with people.
Oh, I take that back.
Instigated
The
a lot of
best.
science trolls, man.
Speaking of wormholes and shit like that, the Stargate movie that came out in 90,
Yeah, that was a good one.
like 94. Yeah,
Was it 94?
I
Yeah,
think
I'll
it was,
tell you one that-
it was somewhere in the early 90s.
I'll tell you one that changed the world in the 90s was Toy Story because of its animation with Pixar.
Yep.
That changed
Yep.
that's kind of like led into what we have today with AI. But
Dude, one
Forrest
of the
Gump
media's
was a
biggest
big one.
distractions
but
of the 2000s was
Forrest
making-
Gump was
trying to
good.
make people hate Steve Jobs. They couldn't do it.
Titanic, Sixth Sense,
Do it.
Hey, the Titanic was actually a really good film.
The
Dude,
Fugitive.
M. Night Shyamalan was an underappreciated genius, honestly.
But with the
my
oh,
favorite
Sixth
my favorite
Sense
one of
was
his is
amazing.
The Village.
He
And
did
that
his
is- that is a
first
work of
great
art.
time.
You can't
That was the
convince me
problem.
otherwise.
You
Yeah,
can't-
Village was
you can't.
excellent.
Oh,
Which one was that?
Excellent
Was that
movie.
the one where they were?
That was the one where it seemed like they were in some kind of like weird Germanic, like Black Forest fairy tale.
Yeah.
dark
Yeah,
fairy tale
but then
where
she had
Yeah.
to like get
monsters lived in the
medicine from
woods and they had
Phoenix
to
Village.
like obey.
Oh,
And
But it was
she-
all just a ruse to scare
Yeah.
people from leaving the place that they were holed up, lying to every
Yep.
single fucking
basically
descendant they had about
modern
the
world.
It's-
story of the modern
It's
world.
almost like he was taken from not only the modern world, but he was also like implementing like Silent Hill as well, because that's how Silent Hill is kind of built with the town.
Yeah.
You're kind of
and it was
entrapped
also
in
a
this
warning
dimension.
about isolating yourself when bad shit happens because you presume that everything is bad because of it. You know, the
Mhm.
world is not full of traps. It just seems that way to people who stumble across traps.
Mm-hmm.
A Few Good Men was from the 90s.
I think that's overrated. I remember watching it. It's good, but I think it's overrated.
I liked it.
It doesn't
like-
age well. It's
good,
good to
right?
watch like
Wait.
a couple times, but it doesn't.
Tim Burton's first Batman foray was 1989.
Oh,
Yeah, that was good.
Mm-hmm.
That was a piece of art too.
when did
I
Shawshank
used to
come
think it
out?
was good, but no more.
When did Shawshank come out?
95,
That's
93.
I think. No, 93.
93.
Okay.
Shawshank was good.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
movie.
that was
Yep. Somebody
know how
managed
that
to turn
applies
Stephen
today.
King's
the original
script into
It
something beautiful. There.
miniseries.
It was like one of the few ones that Stephen King
Oh.
couldn't ruin by comment. You know, like
Actually,
every single other one of his
Yeah.
movies was basically made for TV quality, even those books were better. It was the
Well,
only movie that exceeded
yeah.
the book,
yeah.
except for maybe The Stand.
The best, like one thing out of the 90s was the Shining remake.
The original
As well.
Shining was really good.
Oh,
The
High
original
Strung was a
Shining
pretty
was
badass
grizzly,
sleeper
but
hit, man.
I like the one from the 90s because it's just a lot more telling, in my opinion, compared
Really?
to
I don't know. Anybody who
there
would
was one.
anybody who
Anybody-
would remake one of his movies is crazy, in my opinion. So
Have you guys
Well,
ever
he
heard
was
of the
great.
movie, the movie and the cult phenomenon known as High Strung?
No.
It was basically a
think so.
low budget pick featuring the guy who created Jimmy Neutron, the guy who played Biff in Back to the Future, and an unbilled cameo by Jim Carrey playing Death.
Oh wow!
And it's literally a fable about a guy who says, "I'd rather be dead" so many times that death takes him up on his preference.
I need to be careful.
And it's just this cynical dick walking around in this apartment, just like hating on everything that he sees.
Huh.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
fantastic.
You know, they're remaking or remade Toxic Avenger.
No way.
Yeah,
Nah,
guess who the Toxic Avenger is?
Who?
Tyrion
Jim
Lannister.
Carrey. Oh,
No. You can't be Jim Carrey. He has to do Captain
It's
Planet.
Tyrion
first.
Lannister. Peter
Yes.
Dinklage. Peter
What?
Dinklage is the Toxic Avenger.
Really?
really?
Why did that?
Not
What's the Toxic Avenger like known for? What did it do?
You mean
Uh,
one,
he
two,
fell
three,
into
or
a
four?
vat of He fell into it. Well, he was a nerd, and he had a belt that would like, you know, when you have a belt that's too long and it sticks out.
Okay.
And he fell into a vat. I can't remember how he got there, but he fell into a vat of toxic.
Okay, obviously I need to explain.
So basically, he was the
Okay, hold
Green
on here,
Goblin,
I'll
but if
tell
he
you
was a
the story of
simp
Toxic
and
Avenger.
a total.
He was a nerd.
Got it.
Grew up in Tromaville, New Jersey, close to where I grew up. They had a nuclear power plant. They're also the ones who started that. You know, when you hit a certain ethnicity with your car, you get so many points. You hit a baby, you get they started that whole, you know, joke. Anyway, so these guys were picking on him. He was a janitor at the local gym, and these jock fellas made him dress up in a tutu, and then they threw him in a vat of the toxic waste from
I forgot that.
the nuclear power plant, which turned him into the Toxic Avenger, and that's why he wears a tutu when he's going around and beats people with his mop.
Dude,
Anyway,
Memphis
that's
Belle
what it
was
was.
also pretty badass.
I remember it being funny. And there were a lot of really bad like B movies that were funny back then. I don't know if that exists now. There were a lot of good ones.
Oh shit! Dances with Wolves was also back there. You cannot neglect that one.
Yeah, we're going a different direction. Class of Nukem.
As schmaltzy as it was,
Class of
you
Nukem High
cannot
2 and
deny
3.
the amount of historical effort that went into
Nukem.
creating that without doing something inaccurate. Best it could.
Art supplies.
You're forgetting Poultrygeist as
Poultrygeist.
well.
What is that?
Poultrygeist. Oh my god.
Kabuki
Wait a
Cop.
minute now, and that goes back into how did they kill that little girl in real life? They killed that little girl, right?
The Poltergeist
What?
people?
Yeah. Was she in Poltergeist or was she in the other? Yeah, because what's her name? Jeez, the daughter or the granddaughter, Drew Barrymore was in E.T., but the other girl was in Poltergeist, and they killed her in real life.
That's right. I thought it was Drew Barrymore, and then I had to think about it. It was a different little girl.
It was that other girl, and don't. I mean, it's bad. They look up how they killed her and who's probably responsible. Bad stuff.
I'm
Shout out to the Shadow film from the 90s.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
It is.
Yeah.
I
still watch that,
most
like,
most
once every few
overrated movie of all time. It was like all flash and no
it-
pan,
it-
even
it
though it
was-
seemed
it was-
good to people who were stupid.
It was nothing like the Batman film from back then or from the original Overtime radio program. But it was
Darkman.
still, you know.
Dick Tracy. Those all came right after Batman, trying to capitalize on
Dick
that.
Tracy's horrible. My God, that
There's an episode of
aesthetic, and then the copycats moved in.
Another overrated is what is it? The Watchman. That's pretty overrated too. It's
Mulholland Drive was an attempt to be thoughtful with a director and a writer who had no idea what thought was.
Y'all see them?
Mulholland Drive is like one of David Lynch's worst movies. No, I take that back.
It was
wild.
No, it was a slap in
wild,
the face to people who he knew would drink what he was calling rain, even though it was obviously pee.
Actually, I take that back. I think one of his worst films, in my opinion, is Wild at Heart. Not a fan of that movie. It's good, but it's not.
I do remember that.
It's good, but it's not great.
What's the premise?
It's still.
There's an episode of the
Nick Cage is in it.
Oh, okay.
There's your Federal Reserve at work for you there with that meme.
He has nothing going for it. Nick Cage is an automatic one-off.
Yeah, this one's crazy to me, right? What is it? It's like a new car, less than $3,000, average income $5,500, new home $12,000. It's freaking nuts. Gasoline was 27 cents.
Bear in mind, this was also 3 revisions of the metric for deciding what inflation would be defined as ago, where each one they decided to correct it for what they considered rampant overestimation of inflation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
And this is the point I always make is that
1962
the milkman of the day would deliver milk is your Amazon driver today. And the milkman back in the day could, feed a family. The mom could stay home, and they could buy a new car. They could have a home. 2-3 kids, the white picket fence, all with a single income. But fast forward to today, and the cost of inflation and the real theft of our culture and our livelihood, we now almost need 3 incomes to maintain that same standard of living.
Yep.
because
It's
of the
evil.
Federal
Yeah.
Reserve.
It's actually not just that's evil, and they did that on purpose.
Right.
So
Because
We
your
did
Amazon
beat that
driver is the
4-cent
equivalent
postage
of
stamp
a
though
Muppet.
with email, so that we got that going for us.
Well,
Yeah,
and
we do
Bill
have
Crystal's
this
dad
point.
basically posited the idea that Strauss was really after a reactivation of Machiavellian government, but with an eye towards protecting the rubes from themselves. Like we really, the conservatives really bought a clunker with neoconservatism. It set us back quite a bit.
This was posted by Econ Bro 5 hours ago.
Kazoo brings up a good
about
point with what
inflation.
He just commented. If you look at, this is what you can get the normies with. Ford, when he first started, he paid his people in gold, and if you look at what they got paid in gold then versus what they make today, it's the same amount.
Well,
so what the gold was worth then, if they still got, it would be the same amount. They got like an ounce or 2 ounces of gold a month.
How do you make sense of the idea of the same amount
they make like
measured in
$4
dollars
or $5 grand a
over
month
time?
on the line? It's equal to about 2. So the dollar has went down, whereas if they got paid in gold, they would have been basically the same. There's no inflation.
Right.
Yeah.
The
I gotta
question is
read
how
this
much
to
of
y'all.
that dollar movement downward was intentionally accelerated or throttled for the sake of manipulating gold too. You don't really have any basis for value measurement or understanding or even decision making, depending on your perspective, right? Unless we have some kind of solid anchor. And valuing gold in dollars to value dollars in gold is inescapably circular. It doesn't make sense to me.
I gotta read this right here. Inflation is theft, but instead of wearing a mask and pointing a gun to your head, they wear suits and call it monetary policy. That was from Econ Bro about 5 hours ago on X. I mean, basically sums it up. That's exactly what inflation really is.
Oh, that is good. That's not manipulated.
No,
that is freaky. That might be her
goes to
son.
show that
MK
violent
Ultra, guys,
asocial behavior is transmissible.
It's all in the family, and you know, like they show pictures of what is it, Chester Bennington and what's his name from Clinton campaign.
Oh,
I mean, it's his.
Oh,
I don't know. Yes, Podesta.
I was saying they did. When you said the campaign, I was like, it does look like that.
I don't know it's real, right? But anyway, it's interesting.
So it's a wise stance to take when it comes to like what you think you know about what other people told you is true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who knows?
Most of our knowledge is secondhand like that when you start to really dig into it.
We didn't even talk about World War III happening.
Oh,
India got spanked with their jets. They have French jets, and the Chinese jets spanked them in Pakistan.
Wait, they have French jets? Whoops.
Yeah, and the Pakistani jets were Chinese, and India got.
Dude, nobody ever got fired for buying.
I can't remember how many lost.
5, I think.
They pumped raw sewage into Pakistan. Pakistan took out a good portion of the power.
How does India ever not pump raw sewage into all their neighboring countries? No offense.
I don't think they have to pump
I
it.
mean,
we didn't talk about Jonah Park.
It's kind of a free toxic resource, right? Like, as far as I'm concerned, like war of attrition. If I had that kind of access to just
she's
like
living on a trailer park.
What's that?
She's living on a trailer park.
I don't know.
Wouldn't it be in the trailer park?
I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Anyway, it was interesting. Yeah, it's just free speech stuff. I don't know. It was interesting. So, all right, we probably should do exits, right? Because we have time coming up here. Who wants to? Let's start with Greg.
All right. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to go ahead and say something that I've been intentionally playing around with this whole episode that everybody probably already picked up, but it deserves repeating as many times as I can say at the time I have. Stable coins are a trap. They are a snare, and you will not be able to see coming the direction they hit you because they're designed to have multiple attack angles in them already. All they have to do is wait for an inevitable disaster of their own making, and there will be a way to use stablecoins to make you pay for their mistakes. I guarantee it. It is worse than a CBDC because it was designed by competent engineers and then co-opted. They will actually be able to make it work stably. And they may even try to transition the meaning of stable currency to uptime, which would be a total lie. But it's the sort of thing that they do with important societal edifices they fear losing control over. Do not fall for stablecoins. Sell them. The surge should be downward, and if it were possible to short them, you should do it out of malice for the people who want to manipulate you, because they deserve to lose this fight. Yeah. Do not go all in on stablecoins. You are buying the bad guy's counter argument.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Andrew,
that's all I have to say today.
That's good. That's good.
Well, all I have to say is screw Charles the Fat. You'll find out tomorrow when you listen to our program.
Nice. All right. Excellent. How about Zach Kaiser?
Yes, you'll learn all about Charles the Fat and those filthy franks on tomorrow's episode, 11 a.m. Eastern, Legacy Right, YouTube, Rumble, X, the works, all over the podcast feel if you want to just listen. Other than that, because we're not live tomorrow, sadly, everybody. We're busy. Other than that, the only thing else I got to say is check out Tari Network, and because you can be a lame tard like me, and you can actually start mining. So you can mine some gems and start making money, user friendly and private.
Sean.
Don't go all in on stable coins, but you should be intelligent and put at least a quarter of your money in them.
Why?
He's genuinely confused. He's genuinely confused.
That's so funny.
You look like my grandpa there at the end. That was good.
I tried to turn myself into a cartoon of eyes glazing over with fury, but I don't know if it worked.
Check me out. I am actually starting a trading group. To be free. Have calls in there. So number go up. Cool stuff. I'm gonna check me out on the usual stuff. Me and Lisa have been having trouble getting going on Tuesdays, but check us out on Like When Lisa's channel and my channel on Tuesdays. For Truth Tuesday, she obviously isn't feeling well, so but hopefully we'll be back next week and here.
Right on. I'm looking for. I can't find it. Wait a minute. Did I get it? No, damn it. There is the Carl memes where it's from
oh god,
Carl. There's one where Carl invested all their money into stable coins right before the bull run. Anyway, that was I couldn't find the meme.
Amazing how they always time the runs for right after people exit the stable, isn't it? It's almost like they put them there to get you to do that.
That's how they know. That's their signal. All right, so make sure you're following Dracaria World on X. We're getting so close to it. We still have 12 gateway keys to give away, and it's the only way you're going to be able to get Genesis Dragon, which have special names and have special stuff. And we will announce how we're going to give those away right before we launch it. We're getting through all the tests. All the back-end code is tested. Seemingly working. We're going to hit all the front end now, and we should hopefully have it out pretty soon. So watch for that, Dracaria World,
dude. And if you're a modder, by the way, a game modder, and you're in the mod community, these things are going to be basically prime time for fucking pumping through, building them into the games you actually care about playing.
Right.
There'll be, any open mod platform will be able to pull that data in, and if you're good enough at asking ChatGPT how to make it magic, right? Like, it'll write it for you.
Whoa. We can do Dracaria Minecraft.
Damn right you can.
Oh, yeah.
Although apparently ChatGPT thinks Stardew Valley, and there was one other that was like, said it could basically do whatever we wanted without us having to intervene.
How about Little Big
like,
Planet?
Mounts and shit.
William.
The new Oblivion.
Yes, William.
Well,
William.
let's see.
So that was the Ultimate Expression.
The new
Again,
RuneScape.
congratulations to World Blockchain Roundtable. 4 years. 4 years. There you go. I'm going to enjoy my cheesecake here and celebrate. Amazing run, and I'm very grateful and honored to be here to celebrate it with all of you, and to see it grow in the years to come. So Din.social, there's a Din DAO meeting 2:00 today, every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. And let's see what else is going on. I'm seriously contemplating, shall I say, unplugging from the world for like a week, 10 days or something. The ugliness is creeping in. It's getting ugly out there. And I don't know, it kind of seems to draw on your own energy.
Yeah.
I think I
It's a
need
really
a
good
reset sometimes.
it's really a strategy if you feel like they're
too many
using like a
black
flood the zone attack on you.
Too
I
many
am
black
unplugging for the weekend, so I am.
But I
actually
will say
unplugging for the
that
week.
World Blockchain Roundtable is certainly a highlight of the week. I enjoy all of you, and thanks everyone. Please like and subscribe wherever you're watching, and continue to join us next week. Next week
Yes.
is Pizza Day for sure. Bitcoin Pizza Pizza Day. So
Number
I
one
did-
platform to mod in Dracaria, by the way, RimWorld. So RimWorld players, get ready.
Right on. And by the way, there is a governance issue for the World Blockchain Roundtable. So go check that out before next week. Maybe we can get it voted in or get a decision on it. I'll just let you look at what it is. And that's it. So we'll see you next week. Everybody, thanks. That was awesome. Great show and perfect on time. Look at this. We're at 56:49 right there.
America's not the government, people. The America is you. It is the Grand fucking Canyon, the Rocky Mountains, the deserts of the Southwest, the Pacific fucking Ocean, the Atlantic fucking Ocean. It is the grandest continent. And what the fuck have you people done? You have turned yourself into sheep, every goddamn one of you.